As you have called for, I am indeed one of the P's. For the ease of transmissions, you may call us the P's, or you may refer to me personally as P, or the Pleiadians. As you well know, names are merely symbolic, and even when we give you a specific name, it is merely a representation of the frequency we vibrate in, rather than exact names. So names, the way you use them, are generally very exact. So Sandy is known by Sandy, or Sandra as she chooses. And even the difference in frequency between Sandy and Sandra affects the way she perceives and presents herself to the world. When we, however, give you a name, the name by nature is inaccurate, since what we are doing is similar to translating names from one language to the other. So in Hebrew, names are meanings of other words, whether it's generation or gift or flower or whatever the word is. With every name, there's a word associated with it. Now, if you were to translate the name to English or any other language, you are not going to translate it literally as calling someone generation, for example, whose name is door. So instead, you translate phonetically as accurate as you can from language to language. However, when it comes to different species or different existences in general, the translation is done by, the closest we can explain it to you is by feel, how things feel. And that is why names are a little tricky and can even vary from person to person channeling. So if this vehicle was to channel an entity she has never heard of before, she may receive the name slightly or completely different than somebody else. However, at times the name can be very similar and even identical. We hope this is not too confusing. And with this, we will open the space for your questions.
Does Yafi have a connection with the Pleiades or with the P's? And what exactly is that connection? Does she have a lifetime there?
Indeed, this vehicle has a connection with the Pleiades. She is currently inhabiting a semi-physical body, and currently we use words that describe time only to draw a connection of your linear understanding to what we're trying to present to you. So in your timeline, she is, well, we can't say it's in your timeline actually, because it is parallel. However, she does inhabit a semi-physical body in the Pleiadians, and indeed working on contact from both ends. So her physical Pleiadian body is of a humanoid-like species that is doing this work of contact with your planet at this time. We will say she is not working alone, as they are a group of, we could call them ambassadors, as they are representative of the culture they bring, but even more so, the place in development. This is what they bring to the table and to the contact work. They have first-hand experience of being on the receiving end of this kind of work, as they too received a helping hand from their galactic family, and the species memory of this transition and of this process is relatively fresh in their minds. However, we will say this did not happen in their what you would call lifetime. So when we're talking fresh in their mind, we're talking still on a much, much larger scale of a memory of a species.
So when you say she has a parallel life in the Pleiades right now, do they share the same higher self?
We would say the answer to this is yes.
So is the body in the Pleiades, is she or he aware of Yafi, and are she or her trying to contact Yafi now?
She is aware. We will say the gender is tricky to understand since it is not as clear cut as you know of it today, since what you would call males are not quite as masculine. There is larger integration of the genders. But yes, she is very aware of Yafi's existence. We will say that the level of awareness generally is much wider and more expansive than that of Yafi on Earth at this time. So yes, there is much, much greater awareness. And the contact work from the Pleiadian side and other galactic families is much more conscious than the process that is ongoing on Earth right now, as this causes one of the, we would say, difficulties or lack of understanding in contact work on your Earth, since it is mostly done below the threshold of consciousness. There is much in terms of blind trust or inner knowing that one must trust without knowing all the details.
Will she be able to have conscious contact in the near future with the Pleiadians?
We consider this work, channeling, as conscious contact. So from our perspective, this is contact rising to the surface. As this vehicle utters these words right now, she has awareness of what she's saying. She has awareness of what is coming through. So she is learning with you some of the aspects of her existence on other realms or other planets. So we consider this conscious contact. However, if you are talking about one of us knocking on her doorstep and presenting ourselves, this is not going to happen. In fact, our species does not have the ability to manifest in a physical way the way you would want us to. This may change over time, but not what you would consider the near future, especially not in the next few years.
Why is that not possible now?
We would say that the frequencies are incompatible. So we would not be able to sustain a physical representation of our existence on your level of density. That is often why you see lights in the sky, but not beings, physical representation of beings, physical bodies. Not that we are the ones appearing in your skies necessarily. It is other groups and other races. However, what we are saying that they are able to appear as what you would call orb or plasma or craft more easily than a humanoid physical body appearing to you. This is not always possible frequency-wise, or what you would consider physical.
The other races that are already here, are humans already having contact with them now?
Yes, there are many, many species and races on your planet currently, and there are many people who are having physical contact. Many of them cannot at this point make their contact public due to safety and practical reasons. However, contact is happening on your planet on all levels, including the very, very physical one. Yes, there are individuals on your planet today who are having in-person contact and conversations with what you would consider ET. Of course, even the term extraterrestrial is tricky since many species have been visiting the Earth prior to your modern civilization's development. But in your eyes, they are ETs, they are species other than your own. And yes, many of them are on your planet, around your planet, and even more so around your planet in realms that you cannot see or touch. Indeed, many, like my groups, are communicating through consciousness, which is quite different. But we see this all as a part of the spectrum of contact. So, for example, not everybody is able to receive information in the way this vehicle does right now. This work is important for many reasons. Not only the information that comes through, but the mere action of connecting, of making this link, of allowing the transmission to happen, connecting your consciousness, your personal consciousness with ours, is raising the expansion of the grid, of the human Earth grid. It's not only human, but the grid that are on Earth right now, which is heavily impacted by human consciousness, especially now because of all the changes that are taking place. So this is a form of conscious contact that is highly significant.